Welcome into another roundtable discussion. Today, we're talking with members of UNA's 2003 football team entering the 2003 football season. UNA had posted 4 straight losing seasons and had not made the playoffs since 1997. This team helped get UNA back on track, posting the first ever perfect 11-0 record in the regular season. We're talking with 5 members of that team. Will Hall, the senior quarterback who won the Harlan Hill Award, is with us. Travis Johnson, a 4-year member who was an All-American kicker and punter that season. Harold Wisdom, he was a junior linebacker, the team's second leading tackler and all-conference pick as well. Evan Oglesby was a junior that picked off 7 passes in his All-American campaign. And Blake Ferris was a sophomore on that team that started at corner opposite Evan. Thank you guys for all taking the time to talk with us. We're going to look at this season from a couple of different perspectives. And first off, let's talk about the rebirth of UNA football that season. As I just said, the first time since the 70s, UNA had posted 4 straight losing seasons. So, Travis, we'll open up with you as a 4-year member of the program. You were there the 2 years prior to Mark Hudspeth arriving. Coach Hud arrived in 2002. From your perspective, how much did the program begin to change under Coach Hud?
Yeah, really immediately. I go back. I came in 99. I had a redshirt year and then 2 seasons, playing seasons under Coach Hyde. We kind of struggled those 2 seasons, and then there was a big shift, not just in the football department, but really the whole athletic department. When Coach Hud came in prior to the 02 season, we also got a new athletic director that year. If I'm not mistaken, I think a new basketball coach that year. So there's a big shift happening in the athletic department. Coach Hud came in, young, fiery coach, created a lot of excitement within the athletic department, within the community. Immediately started bringing in some talent from areas that we really haven't before. Some great athletes. We started the 02 season with a lot of excitement. It didn't go quite as planned, but I think, any of the players, people within the program really saw some potential building on that football team. Just the talent that was coming in, the camaraderie, the fire that the coaching staff brought. And then, we stumbled through 2002, but I think we all felt that something special was fixing to happen in 2003. Outside of the team, you may not have saw it because it was just a record on paper. But within the team, within the department, we really created an excitement for the 03 season. We did believe moving into that we had something special coming in. So yeah, that move from starting in the 2002 season, we really created a building block moving into the 2003 season.
Evan Oglesby, we'll go over to you next. You arrived in 2001 as a freshman. Coach Hudspeth takes over in 2002. In what ways did you see the program begin to change?
Like Travis said, Coach Hud brought a level of excitement to the locker room. Like he said, a lot of changes on campus for his athletic program. He brought a lot of quality players that came in to help us win, And I think that 02 season would have went differently if we'd have won our first game opener with Sanford. I think how we approached practice that year was different. Nothing against Coach Hyde, but it was a more laid-back type environment in practice. But when Coach Hud came on, he had the right coaches to motivate us. And then going into the 2003 season, I know us secondary, I'm speaking just alone on our secondary, we had a great defensive coordinator, and we had probably, one of the best mentors in my life, Coach Brian John Marie. It just gave us a different mindset of how to approach the game and who we are as a team. So I would think, those are some of the factors that I saw that really shifted our mindset to a winning tradition again.
Harold Wisdom, we'll jump over to you and a little bit of a local perspective. You transferred in that season, but you were a product of Deschler High School. When you came to North Alabama, how much did you have your sights on helping the program return to dominance?
To be completely honest with you, man, coming out of high school, I had no interest in the program itself at UNA, right? Just, you had spoke earlier, 97 was the last year. They making the playoffs. There hadn't been a whole lot of success or excitement in the program with the losing seasons. I decided to go to Jacksonville State instead, spent a year there before transferring back to UNA. I ended up getting married, was one of the factors I transferred back home. But I didn't even play that year. When I first transferred back was Hyde's last season. I took my red shirt that year, and then I completely got out of football. I was burnt out. So HUD's year, the 02 season, I just practiced. I wouldn't even I was still on the fence whether football was for me, just because I was starting a new journey with my wife and child, and it was actually my wife who got me back into loving the game and missing it. So 03 was actually my first year back on the field, when things had made the turn. But just to speak on what Evan and Travis had spoke on, I think one of the keys to success, and I try to tell my guys this now, the kids I coach, every day at practice was so much fun, right? Just the level of competition, the level of competitiveness. It wasn't a job. It wasn't, hey, we got to go out here, we got to get X and O's is done, we got to get these things done. But it was just, we went out here and competed and had fun and talked a lot of trash. And I think that spilled over into the success on the field. Because if you look at it, yes, there was some new additions to the team, myself and some other transfers, but the foundation of that team was already there. Does that make sense? They brought some new coaches in. I didn't practice or play under Coach Matthews. I know him and I know what he brings to the table. They had brought Coach Wallerstedt in 03 from Wyoming, and he fit that mold of what Travis and Evan had talked about, just a level of excitement and energy. And I think one of HUD's favorite sayings is the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. And that was kind of, they set the precedents for the players at practice, and we matched it. But I think every day was just a level of competition at practice, right? The excitement at practice, it was nothing compared to it when it come to the game. We'd already played the game numerous times during the week. So I was just very blessed and fortunate to be part of that team at that time. Because like I said, prior to that, UNA was just hanging on. They had kind of gotten away from the glory days, and now I think that 03 team was the biggest turnaround in NCAA history as far as wins. From I think y'all were 4-6 in 02 to 13-1 in 03. But it was just a special time, man. And if you look at it now, if you look at the number of guys that were on that team that are still in the game of football, whether they're coaching it, whether they're still playing it, just the passion that everybody had on that team, you could not be successful. Those guys, we were going to win regardless, just because of the love we had for one another, and the passion that everybody had for the game. And they're still in it in some regard. Will's still coaching, Blake's still coaching, I'm still coaching. I can list a numerous number of guys that were on that team that are still in the game of football in some regard. And I think when you got when you're surrounded with a bunch of guys that have a passion for something, it's hard not to be successful. It's hard not to hold each other accountable and get the goals that you set forth accomplished. So it was a special time in 03. And yeah, that's why we're talking about it now. So.
Well, Hall, we'll jump over to you. You transferred in as well. You played in 2002, but we've talked about the program changing prior to 02-03, but what did you see change from 02 to 03?
Yeah, two big things happened. Number one, we had almost everybody back. Everybody that was a key contributor was coming back, so we were able to build that camaraderie. We were on the, schematically, offensively at that time, we were kind of on the cutting edge, on the forefront of the whole no-huddle spread offense revolution. So we did a lot of good things offensively. And then like these guys have already said, the defensive shift to Matt Wallerstedt, Brian John Marie, and Chad Huff came in defensively. So our whole defensive staff changed. And we got on the forefront at that point defensively too. Coach Wallerstedt was a 3-3 stack guy that morphed to a 4-man front. and just really used all of our pieces schematically in a great way that year. And then we brought also Terry Tillman came in, guys, still remembers, the O-line coach. And that was a big shift for us from an O-line perspective. So I think it was just a perfect storm, like Harold said. We had a few guys that were good enough to play in the NFL, like Evan, but for the most part, we had a lot of really good football players that were gritty and tough and hardcore guys that you could depend on. And then we were on the cutting edge schematically in all three phases, and we had everybody back. So it was just kind of a perfect recipe. And, we won the big one early at Jacksonville. And I can remember sitting in at halftime and looking at David Mooneyham when we were winning that game and saying, shoot, man, we're better than these guys, and it just kind of hit us. To me, it hit me that night when we kicked their butt at their place. We didn't really think we'd get beat again. And, we shouldn't have. We should have won the whole thing, but we didn't. And, I'll live with that the rest of my life.
So, Blake Ferris, we'll wrap up this first part with you. You can bring it from the perspective of you were part of Coach Hudspeth's first recruiting class. So what was the sales pitch like coming in?
One thing he brought when he came to my high school, he had showed me a Delta State championship ring. And that meant so much to me because of my brother was a part of the 93, 94, 95 championship. So that was something big for me. I knew he was going to bring a lot of excitement. I knew he was going to bring a lot of energy. And so that meant the most to me.
Let's start breaking this team down just a little bit before we jump into the big moments. And Will Hall, you kind of just touched on this, but I want to talk about the offense a little bit more in depth. You won the Harlan Hill that season, set a school record for completion percentage, and the weapons around you. 2 800-yard rushers in DeMarcus Blunt and Randy Vickers, numerous weapons at wide receiver. What was it like quarterbacking this offense?
It was a perfect storm for me. I just had to be a point guard. We had really good receivers. We had really good backs. We were playing fast and no huddle back in a day and time when people weren't ready to defend that. We were running option out of the shotgun in a day and time when there weren't a whole lot of great defensive answers for that. So it just allowed me to kind of be a point guard. It allowed me to use my head, my knowledge of the game to distribute the rock. And, obviously I won a lot of awards and all of that, but you do that when you're the quarterback and your team's good. And we had a really good team,
Travis, in 2001, you led UNA with 40 points scored on the season. Then you fast forward to 2003, and you set an NCAA record for most points scored by a kicker in a season with 105. So going from 40 points to 105 in a season, what was it like kicking behind this offense?
Well, it was exciting, to be able to contribute that much to a team. It just goes to show you the type of points that Will Hall and those guys could put up on offense. Going from 40 points to over 100 points in a season was not the result of my efforts. I just kicked the extra points when Will threw the touchdowns. So we had a phenomenal offense. It was a lot of fun. Like Will said, early on in that 2003 season, none of us thought we were going to lose another game, and I think it went down to every position. I didn't think I would miss another kick. It was just that type of season where nothing could go wrong, and we trusted each one of us and our abilities.
Let's jump over to the defensive side of the football. This defense led the Gulf South Conference in total defense, pass defense, and scoring defense. And Harold, we'll let you open up. You're the second leading tackler behind a guy by the name of Donald Tharp. That front group, break it down. How good were you guys?
Up front wise, you had Jonathan Taylor and Patrick Craig, Ken Triplett. Robert Wilkerson was part of that group. He was a older guy that was on the previous staff. Linebacker wise, you brought in Donald Tharp and Courtney Wright, 2 freshmen, I believe, at the time. Just guys that had slipped through the crack. They were obviously what I like to say. They were D1 talent playing on the D2 team, if that makes sense. The same thing in the secondary with Blake and Evan. You got D1 talent on a D2 team. For whatever reason, they they slipped through the crack and landed there with us. And it was hard, especially with the things we were doing defensively. Like I said, people hadn't seen it. And the speed of our defense, and I had nothing to do with that, I promise you, was so fast, and we attacked people and got after people, and we were multiple with our fronts and our looks. And it was a fun time. It was a fun time. I think Blake had 7 interceptions that year, maybe, or something like that, or Evan, I can't recall. But again, I think what made that team successful is, and follow me now, and I explain this to people all the time, they get lost. There was a bunch of selfish guys on that defense, if that makes sense. When the ball was snapped, everybody wanted to make the play. All right. And I don't mean selfish in a negative way. I meant that we're going to do our job, get lined up pre-snap, post-snap. Everybody wanted to make that play. So you had a lot of gang tackling. You had a lot of guys competing for the ball, et cetera. And it just made for a exciting defense to watch, because there wasn't just one superstar. I tell people all the time, I've won some awards here. I got inducted to the Hall of Fame and things of that nature. But I was the 11th best player on every team I played on. And that's just a testament to all the other 10 guys that I played with and how good they were. And then the attention that they demanded, if that makes sense. So, it was exciting. And I think it had to do with Coach Wallstatt and his scheme, and Coach G. Marie and those guys.
Evan, over to you now with the secondary. You had those 7 interceptions, but what made that secondary so good?
I think Coach Brian John Marie, I'll never forget the first practice that he was signed to. He was signed that day. And we were out there, doing one-on-ones. We let receivers catch balls. We know we can D them up. And he ripped us a new in the meetings. And he made us stop playing average. He used to have this term, you don't want to be great. We'll miss a tackle or miss an interception. You don't want to be great. And so he was the one that established this dominance and self-confidence amongst ourselves. If you want to be great, the great was to take that interception for a touchdown. So it kind of reshaped how we approach practice. Like I said, we love practice, and we competed. I think the ones winning versus the ones in practice. And so when you going up against the best offense in the league, and the offense is going up against one of the best defenses in the league, games was easy to us pretty much. I mean, we were so well focused and well prepared. We had highly confident. I mean, I trusted our front. I knew that the QB didn't have much time to hold the ball, so I only had to guard receivers for about 3-4 seconds. So, it's just the whole trust factor amongst the whole team. We knew Will was going to drive the ball down the field. We knew Travis was going to kick the field goal or make the extra point. So it was like a whole level of team trust, all of stemming from how we started to approach practice. And we built that level of trust and that brotherhood, and it carried over into the game. Blake, Lacey, Jamarcus Snipes, we had smart players in the secondary. And like Harold said, we were all ball hawks. We was all trying to figure out who's going to make the play. If the game wasn't going our way, I remember back in our huddle, we'd be like, okay, which one of us going to make the play? We used to have a challenge amongst ourselves. Okay, who's going to step up and make a play? So, man, it was an unbelievable feeling to know you was in this fight with your brothers. Coach used to always say, who's going to be in the foxhole with you? And I would take every guy on that 2003 team to be in the foxhole with me. And like we said, I never thought we would lose another game that season.
Blake, you were a young guy on that team, and there's a lot of other young guys that contributed and played a lot. Guys like Lance Ankar, Chip Long, Anthony Merritt started to emerge as well as a playmaker. But what was it like for so many young guys to contribute that season?
Coming from that 2002 to that 2003 season, we knew we had something special with Coach bringing all us freshmen in with a couple of JUCO guys that's following in the same group. We knew we took a lot of pride in everything we did. We were so tight. We did everything together. I'm talking about me, DeMarcus Blunt, Thor, who else I want to say? Lance Ankar. We just took a lot of pride in it, and we knew we had something special, and so we just ran with it.
Let's jump into some of the big moments of this season. The year opened up with a 68-7 win over Stillman. Next game of the year, that sets up the showdown with Jacksonville State. The first meeting between the two programs since 1992, when Jacksonville State beat UNA on the way to winning the national championship that season. Jacksonville State, a member of the High Valley Conference, they won the OVC that year as an FCS program. But for any of you guys, I know Will's touched on it just a little bit, but leading up to that game, I don't know if you guys knew how good you were yet, but what was the mindset? What was the preparation week like?
Well, I can honestly tell you, we had a guy from previous years named Dewey Stodmeyer. He was at UNA, and he was thinking that he was the prima donna. And when he transferred to Jacksonville State, my mindset was, I'm going to show him how much better I am to him in his own stadium. So I had a totally different level of aggression towards him. And, you know, having the team that we had going down there, they had a couple of receivers that were supposed to be getting scouted by the NFL. And I remember Coach B said, these guys out here, they get looked at by the league. So if you go out there and show your skills, you know, let's see what you got. So that was another challenge Coach B put on us as secondary players. And we went out there, and I think, Blake, we got to the sideline out that first series. We were like, man, these boys sorry.
Yeah, I remember the kid named Ralph Jenkins. Yeah, to chime in, like what Evan said, Coach B put a lot of pressure on us. He didn't want us to be average. He was like, you don't want to be great, you don't want to be great, and he would work our butts off in practice. So we was already prepared at Jacksonville State. We had a mindset that we was going to go in there and dominate them guys. And so, like Evan said, we got to that sideline, we said, they ain't got a chance. We're going to kill these guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we were coming off of we had just put a 68 spot on Stillman, you know, the first game of the year. And so, you know, we entered that season thinking we might be okay. To Will's point, we had some pretty good talent coming back, some good contributors returning. Then we go out that first game and beat Stillman 68-7. We were supposed to win that game. I don't think we thought we'd put 68 on them. So we thought we might be pretty good. We go into Jack State, hoping to win that game, thinking we had a chance to win it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they might have just came off of a conference championship the year before. I'm not sure, but they had a good team. And we go down there, and I mean, I think there's probably 15,000 people there. We brought a huge crowd. And yeah, like to Will's point, by halftime, we knew we were going to win that game. And then when we walked away after that game, you know, it only took 2 games for us to get some swag. You know, most of the time it might take you 5 or 6 games into the season before you got that swag. And by that second game, we weren't losing another one. And it was a lot of fun from there on. That was a fun game.
You know, I think for me, in my perspective of that game, Jack Crow was the head coach, and then Greg Stewart was the DC. He was the one that recruited me to Jacksonville State and signed me. A lot of those guys during that 03 season were in my recruiting class at Jacksonville State. I know the quarterback, Anthony Mayo from Etowah, was my roommate. Levette Jones, the starting left tackle, he was in that group. And a couple of the running backs that played in that game. And I actually played in an all-star game with Dewey Stoudemire, so I knew Dewey. And it was – to me, it was like, okay, if we're going to be any good, how good are we going to be? This is our measuring stick right here. You know, because they did win the OVC that year. That year for Jacksonville State kind of set them where they are now. If you go back and look at the history, I think they won the OVC 3 years in a row starting in 03. So that season springboarded their program is just like 03 springboarded our program to where it is now. But for me, it was personal. I didn't have the success I thought I should have had at Jacksonville, and that's probably more so me than them. So not that I wanted revenge or anything of that nature. I just wanted to let those guys know, hey, you had something, you let it go. So I had a point to prove in that game, and just like the guys that have said before, winning that game, we didn't feel like we were going to face anybody better on our schedule than those guys, So it was exciting. It was exciting. It was definitely the measuring stick up to that point for our success and where we want to project with our team, and it was awesome.
Yeah, for me, the previous year, we were in every game. We only got really blown out, I think, if I remember right. Valdosta beat the brakes off of us at home. But besides that, we were in every game. Every game was a close game. Most every game was a high-scoring game. So to get back, to what Evan and Harold and Blake are talking about defensively with the transition defensively, we finished the year. I actually split time at quarterback that first year. Towards the end of that season, we had gotten to play in some pretty good defense. I had kind of solidified myself as the starter. So we're going into that next year, and we beat Stillman really bad. Like Travis said, we should have. But the fact that we kicked their butt on defense and I played well, we go into Jacksonville with some confidence at quarterback and some confidence, I think, on defense that might have been a little shaky the year before. And then we get to halftime at Jacksonville, and Jacksonville can't move the ball on us. And we were throwing the ball around and all that. And, I mean, all of a sudden, we knew we were pretty good. And like Evan said, we always had great confidence. That team just had a lot of confidence. He just had a lot of people with a lot of swag and confidence. But it kind of all came together right there. And it was on from there. That's the game. We beat a D1 AA conference champion that made the playoffs. It's the game that cost us, being able to host that semifinal at home, which is one of the greatest travesties in NCAA history that game wasn't in Florence.
So UNA wins that game 28-16. Following that, you guys roll off 4 straight wins to open up the season. Nationally ranked 15th in the nation. Sets up a showdown with a Southern Arkansas team that was ranked 13th in the nation. The Mule Riders had won 4 straight against North Alabama, and they led you guys 14-0 at the end of the first half. So let's jump into the second half of this ball game and see what all you guys remember about some of these plays, starting with Harold Wisdom. And you had a big hit on a 4th and 1 when Southern Arkansas was driving, forced a fumble. UNA would score later in the quarter on way to rallying to win that game. But Harold, the 4th down stop. Do you have any memories of that?
Okay. So going into that game, like you said, we rolled off 4 in a row, and Southern Art was a playoff team that year, running the triple option. And that 4th and 1 play was just a lead, a double ISO out of the wishbone, kind of this short yardage package that we had known. We knew it was coming on film, just on film breakdown and personnel sub in. But it was a deal where both the blockers went for Donald Tharp, and nobody touched me. You go back and watch it on film, it wasn't like I made a spectacular play. I just filled the hole and made a hit and kind of springboarded the game from there. We kind of gave life and energy to the team, and we were able to turn around and win that game 21-14. Because if not, it was in the red zone. They were fixing to go up 21-0 on us, and who knows what the outcome would have might have been. So, but again, it was nothing special on my part. I just did what I was coached to do, and able to help the team at that point in the game. So, I get a lot of credit for that play, but it was nothing special. If you go back and watch it on film, I just made a tackle. I didn't have any superhuman ability or anything of that nature. It was both the guys went to block Donald Tharp instead of one blocking him and one blocking me, and the running back finding the hole. They just both went for Donald, and which I would too if I was on that side of the ball. Trust me, if I was lead blocking, I'd have went for Donald Tharp too, not Harold Wisdom.
Hey, I want to step in. Harold's being very humble. It was an unbelievable play. All right. I've been going to the field house every day since I was 5 years old, and I'm 40 now, so 35 straight years of going to football every day. So maybe the best hit I've ever seen in a football game. He absolutely knocked the ever-loving crap out of him. The ball went flying, and they went from being up 14-0 and totally controlling the game to all of a sudden we beat them 21-14, and then we played them in the first round of the playoffs and could have beat them 100-0. I mean, it was a hit that caused a fumble that changed the game, but it also dismantled their whole – they couldn't recover from it. You know, for 6 straight quarters after that, we basically beat them 120-0. And it was an unbelievable football play. I can still remember the sound of it when it happened.
I just remember the walk to the game, and walk to the cow pasture. So
That was a long walk.
Tell me about it. That was a long halftime, too.
Yeah. That's after about an 18-hour bus ride, it felt like, down to Magnolia.
No doubt.
That's way on down there.
Any other thoughts about what that win did for the rest of the season, or any other memories from the win?
I thought it you know, we'd kind of, up to that point, we'd experienced everything. We'd blown people out. We had fought in a close game with JSU, and then up until that point of the season, we had never had to come from behind, right? So we kind of experienced all the emotions that go along with the football game, and after that, we felt like, okay, you know, no matter what we see or face, it ain't gonna matter. We've experienced it all. We're close enough as a team and talented enough as a team to overcome any adversity that could happen during the game. So that was my opinion of that up until that point in the season. You know, that we faced all that we could face from an emotional standpoint of what a game throws at you. So.
The next game I want to jump into is the showdown against Valdosta State. The Blazers ranked number 1 in the nation. North Alabama had climbed up to number 3 in the nation. UNA would win this ball game, but you guys had dropped 3 straight to Valdosta State the previous 3 seasons. But I want to open up with this, and Travis or Evan, for you two, being the guys who've been at UNA the longest, heading into that game, to be where you guys were the previous years, to probably being the marquee football game that weekend. What do you remember about the lead up to it?
Well, we always played second fiddle to Valdosta up until then. Valdosta, to Will's point, the year before they thrashed us. I was there when Dusty Bonner was down there and just ripped us apart. So we didn't have very good memories of our battles with Valdosta. But this year was a little bit different. We went into it. This was a playoff game. Is what it was. We approached it as a playoff game. It was at their place. It was Halloween. Beautiful day. 11 o'clock kickoff. Big crowd. It was an exciting game.
Valdosta State led that ball game 3-0 at the end of the first half, and UNA only had 32 yards of total offense, 2 on the ground, 30 through the air. Then in the second half, Will Hall, I'll go to you next. You guys rolled out 215 yards on the ground in the second half alone. What started clicking? Do you have any memories of that?
Yeah, I remember we had just a little fade out concept to the field, and we pump fake the corner and hit Martin Huggins down the sideline. And kind of got us going right there. And then, once we scored, I remember they had a running back, a really good running back, number 14, Jenkins was his last name. He broke down the sideline. And who ran him down, Blake? Somebody ran him down from behind.
I think Courtney Wright ran him. I think it was Courtney.
Okay.
It was me.
Anyway, just an unbelievable effort play. He's going down the sideline for a touchdown. And we run him down from behind and cause a fumble as he's crossing the goal line. So instead of them scoring, it's a touchback. And then we drive and score again and take the lead. And that game was just we wanted that game. I know I wanted that game. They really took it to us the year before and physically kind of beat us. And for all of us that had a lot of pride, and we've talked a lot about that with that team, there was a lot of pride and a lot of ego on that team. And we wanted that game. We wanted them. And once we kind of got rolling, it was on,
Oh, yeah. Merritt was the one that ran that guy down. That's when I kind of realized how good. Huh?
I get 2003 and 2005 mixed up.
Yeah. That's when
I do think Anthony Merritt ran him down. I think Evan's right. But it was an unbelievable play, too, and it was all.
I knew Merritt was good, but that right there took Merritt to a whole nother level of trust after that play. And dating back from how I came into UNA, Valdosta always had our number. So coming in now at this 2003 team, I had a totally different level of confidence that there's gonna be a new sheriff in town after this season, after this game. And like I said, everything that game kind of solidified who we were as a team. And then at the end of the day, we won. We was out there on the field. That was the first time I ever won a championship. So that was real huge for me, to actually get a ring. Only to have to calm down on that long 8-hour bus ride back to really celebrate. But, Valdosta, they have an awesome program, but we knew then that now we're on that level too. UNA is back.
One thing I remember, though, is in 02, we say we got killed. We say we got Threx, but I think we made that game closer. I know Will and DeMarcus Blunt. I remember DeMarcus Blunt scoring like 3 late touchdowns that got us kind of close. And we kind of got that confidence. We were just kind of like, okay, Valdosta ain't all that, all right? Because I felt like everybody feared Valdosta when we first got here. We were like, Valdosta. They had just played for the national championship. And I just remember Coach Brian Turner, I think he would end up going to Troy. He said, remember this day. Remember this day. We're going to get these guys back next year. And so that's the part I remember about it.
I remember the pregame talk on the bus. I don't know if Evan and Blake, I don't know if y'all remember that from Coach Wall before we got off the bus.
Oh, the pressure?
I mean, I was in tears. Like I was,
Oh, yeah.
I was in tears. So emotional,
Oh, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, was that not the monkey game, Will?
Yes.
It was.
The guy dressed up in the mascot and jumped the fence. Like we're fixing to score, and this goober jumps the fence in an outfit and tries to tackle Will. That was just they knew we had their number and they were doing anything they could. So.
Harold, was that the speech when he was like, pressure, we are the pressure?
We are the pressure. And if you recall, I believe on Thursday, on Wednesday, because I think Thursday was our walkthrough. I get the days mixed up because it was so long ago, but Coach Wall's given us a speech after practice, right? And he pulls the underwear out and the crotch is burned out of the underwear, all right? And then he's giving it to us, and he's getting us all fired up. We're fixing to get done with practice and
On fire.
on fire, that type of deal. And I don't know if you guys remember, but it sticks in my brain. He rips these underwear out of his pants, and the crotch is burned out because our theme was you got to play the game like a fire, and the ball carrier's got the bucket of water. If that makes sense. But he was so into himself and so emotional that he drops the GD bomb, and then he tells Roger, our team chaplain, okay, let's pray. That was the kind of a fiery emotion guy that Coach Wall was. He is an unbelievable human being, man. And just that energy. God, he brought so much energy. And I think that helped us in that game because it was like Travis said, it was 11 o'clock kickoff. It was freaking hot. It was so hot that game. And just for us to come back and win it, and like Evan said, that solidified the championship for that season. And a lot of those guys had never experienced a championship, and it was a special moment. So.
An undefeated regular season Gulf South Conference champions, the first and only UNA team to go 11-0 in the regular season. So we move into the playoffs, open up with a 48-24 win over Southern Arkansas. You get them back once again. Second game, a 41-9 thrashing over Carson Newman. 2 dominating wins. Then, unfortunately, the road trip to North Dakota sees the season come to an end. But that playoff run prior to North Dakota, just how much were you guys clicking? How dominant were you guys?
We were getting better, if that was even possible. But we were getting better. We wanted a championship. We had won a conference ring, but we wanted the big boy, and went out. That opening one against Southern Arkansas. We knew right off the bat it was going to be hard to beat them twice. But man, that game just started off right, and we weren't going to lose it. Carson Newman. I think Evan had a couple picks in that game. That wasn't even close. That was over. That was over before halftime. And then, as Will pointed out earlier, we really got the shaft on the North Dakota trip. Should have had that on our home turf. But disappointing end to an exciting season. But still, 13-1, 9-0 in the conference, nothing to be upset about.
By the time we hit the playoff, we didn't just want to beat teams anymore. We wanted to dominate teams. And I think that first two rounds, we demonstrated that. And we was planning on dominating North Dakota too. But, football is dog days. Every day is the same. It threw us off having to get that decision that Wednesday night and having to change our weekly schedule to go on the road to play. So that kind of, I know me personally, that kind of messed me up on how I approach my games on Saturday. But we still had that mindset of we going up there to dominate too. Fortunately, they had I ain't gonna put them on the bus, but they had a good game plan ready for us, and we couldn't pull that game off. But you don't know how good it feels going to war ready. And that's how we entered that playoff year ready for that national championship on offense, defense, and special teams. So it was like, this is ours. This is ours. We just got to go get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into North Dakota, I think we had straight games where we scored over 40 points. Like Travis said, we were really rolling. We get the news we got to go up to North Dakota, and man, I mean, I'm not over it. I still, as a leader and things like that, I look back on things I could have done better to try to help all of us play better early in that game. We got down 19 points early, and then we only lost by 7. And if we'd have played them 2 more quarters after that, we'd have beat them by 4 touchdowns. We were better than them. We had to play the game without David Mooneyham, which was a tragedy in itself with what happened to him. But I think that hurt us as well. So we lost a really key contributor, along with we thought we were going to be at home, and then that got jerked out from under us, and we just didn't play well early. We were down 19 just like that. And then, we dominated the game, but we just didn't have enough to get over the hump there.
Let's start wrapping up this conversation. A great year for UNA football, 13-1. You guys really sparked the run that came in the 2000s, and we'll go around and get everybody's parting thoughts. And Travis, you're an All-American. We've hit on it a lot, the tough first couple of seasons, but that 03 year, just what sticks out most to you? What are the memories you take away?
And just the teammates. We offense, defense, special teams, we were all one group. And just the friendships that I still have off of that team, that particular team, I'm just extremely blessed to have been a part of it, to have struggled several years before that, and with some of these guys. With Evan can attribute to it, but just to struggle and then just to still go out a winner, means a lot. I do have a ring. I do have a conference championship ring that nobody can take away from me. But at the end of the day, it was just the friendships and the teammates on that team that I still cherish and still talk with today. At the end of the day, that's what it was.
Harold, over to you. You had an outstanding career at UNA. You went on to coach at UNA as well. But that 03 year, just where does it stack up for you?
Along the same lines of what Travis said. I mean, the memories will always get bigger as you get older, right? But I think what we were able to accomplish, because look, UNA is the prominence and prestige of this program. Everybody across the country knows about this program. And for us to say, hey, we were the group, or we were the team that got the train back on the track, right? Is something special, because that's not easily done anywhere. And just the memories, just the friendships. I was able to work with Blake for a couple of years, and we're still close to this day. I speak with Will every now and then, and just and Evan, homecomings and things of that nature, and just I'm super proud to be in the same breath with these guys, and they're all become successful men and fathers, and leaders in their community, whatever they're doing, and just to be part of that is just special. I mean, I talk more about these guys than I do, and what I was able to be part of than I do. My kids ask me all the time, what did you do or how did you do? Speaking of my career, and I get more excitement talking about Blake and Evan and I played with Will Hall, who won the Harlem Hill, and Travis and those guys. And that's what I'll take with me until the good Lord calls me home. It's just the time we were able to spend together, the camaraderie and the lifetime friendships. Because at the end of the day, it's a game, and you can only play it so long. And what you take from that game to help you become a man and a father and those things is what I cherish. And the lessons that this game has given me and the memories and the friendships that I made from this team. Because look, there was no other year like it. If you look at the next year, it was bad, right? So this was a special year, and Will has used this term "perfect storm" a couple times during this conference, and it was a perfect storm of talent and coaching, and it's made a lifetime of memories. So I'll forever be grateful for that team. So.
Evan Oglesby, over to you now, a two-time All-American at UNA, a career in the NFL as well. But that 03 season, just where does it rank for you?
I mean, I guess that's just a testament of all the struggle and work ethic and pain that I experienced. That was like the climax. That's what you build for. You want to go out on top. And to come into UNA where the program was and to be a part of that team that got it, like Harold said, back on the track. I mean, I talk about that all the time, being a part of that team that got the mojo back at UNA. And I'm around awesome people. Like, I talk to Will every blue moon. I know he gets tired of me reaching out to him. But I'm proud of you, bro. I'm proud of Blake. I'm proud of you, Harold. I'm proud of you, Travis. And all the other coaches out there that was from this team, because, that's what we in this for. We brothers on the field and we brothers off the field. And I wouldn't be able to sit here in my seat and have the life I have if I wasn't a part of that. And so I'm forever grateful for UNA. I'm forever grateful for my friends and teammates to just give me that opportunity to play with them and, to just build these memories together. Like, I mean, I love coming back to North Alabama. Wish everybody would come back for homecoming when I'm able to come over there. But it's just, man, I can honestly say I love everybody that's a part of that program. And I don't use that word lightly.
Will Hall, over to you now. You won the Harlan Hill that season. One of the best seasons a UNA quarterback has had at North Alabama. That 03 season, what's it like reliving it?
Yeah, I tell you, everybody's talking about it, but we were just a really close bunch, Ben. I had a house that I lived in with 3 other teammates, and man, we had a lot of fun. It was right across from the hospital, so everybody could come over and park at the hospital, and they wouldn't know we were having parties. And it was a group that we just hung out together. After that 8-hour bus ride to Valdosta, when we got back winning that game, I can remember us hanging out over at my house all night, all the way into Sunday. And, in the summers, we would get up in the mornings and go work out, and then we would just stay and play football. Like, literally, we would go out there and play football on the practice field, like two-hand touch football all day long. And it was just a group that enjoyed being around each other. They enjoyed football. I take great pride, like Evan said, in being a part of the crew that got UNA back, because UNA hasn't slowed down at all since then. Lord knows I've had to coach against them a bunch. And, it was a special group and a special time.
Blake Ferris, to wrap it all up, you were on the 05 team as well that made that great run. You've been a part of the coaching staff over the years as well. But to wrap it up, the 03 team, just what did it do for UNA football?
I would say the 03 team was a stepping stone. We were all sophomores at that time, and they showed us so much. They led us so much. They taught us so much, and it really helped us have that bond. It really helped us make it all the way back to the semifinals in 2005. We had already experienced the playoffs. I think that year in 2005, it was the first year that we played on a Thursday, 2 Thursday night games, and we lost those games. We went 8-2, and then we had to come back on the road and play those same 2 teams. We ended up beating them, but I just thought that 03 team was the stepping stone for us, and I always cherish those guys.
Guys, thank you all for taking the time to go down memory lane and relive that 2003 season.
No, I appreciate the invite, man. We need to keep doing this.